Ever walked down a street and felt chills crawl up your spine? Imagine roads where shadows whisper, ghosts linger, and history's horrors never sleep. Tonight, we're uncovering the UK's most haunted streets, places where every cobblestone hides a scream. Every alley echoes with lost souls. From phantom horsemen to weeping Victorian ghosts, these roads are alive with the dead. Dare you join me? Keep the lights on, because what you're about to see will haunt your dreams. Let's step into the darkness, dramatic pause, and discover where the past never dies. 1. The Shambles, York. The Shambles in York is a narrow, crooked street with old wooden buildings that lean close, almost touching above your head. Walking here feels like stepping into the past. The air feels heavy and shadows move where no one stands. Many people say they feel watched here, especially at night. The street was once filled with butchers' shops, and some visitors still smell blood or hear the ghostly sounds of knives cutting meat. But the most famous ghost here is the Lady in Grey. She appears in the Shambles Tavern, a pub hidden in the street. Her story is sad. Long ago, a fire trapped her inside a building. She died searching for her child, who was never found. Now her spirit wanders the tavern. People see her in dark corners, her face pale and eyes full of tears. She vanishes if you try to approach her. Others hear a child's cry echoing from empty rooms, or feel a cold hand brush their arm when no one is there. Lights flicker for no reason. Footsteps follow visitors but stop when they turn around. Some even hear whispers in the wind saying, "Find me." Locals avoid the street after sunset, but brave tourists walk slowly, cameras ready. Yet photos often show only mist or strange shapes. Is the Lady in Grey still searching, or are the shadows hiding more secrets? The Shambles keeps its mysteries close. 2. Royal Mile, Edinburgh. The Royal Mile in Edinburgh is a winding, ancient street lined with tall, dark stone buildings that seem to whisper secrets. During the day, tourists crowd the street, but at night, the air grows cold and silent. Many believe the ghosts of Edinburgh's violent past walk here. Centuries ago, this street saw public executions, witch burnings, and plague victims buried alive in hidden tunnels below. Now, strange things happen after dark. Visitors hear unexplained footsteps echoing behind them, but when they turn, no one is there. Some feel icy fingers touch their necks, or see shadowy figures darting into narrow alleys called closes. One famous ghost is the Headless Drummer. Legend says he appears before a disaster strikes the city. His drumming echoes through the night, loud and urgent, but his body is never seen. Another spirit is a young girl in a dirty dress, seen crying near the old cemetery. Her name was Annie, and she died alone during the plague. People say she follows visitors, tugging their sleeves, begging for help. In one building, a ghostly cobbler hammers shoes in an empty room. His tools clatter, lights flicker, and the smell of leather fills the air. But the room is always empty when checked. Tour guides tell stories of tourists taking photos, only to find blurred faces or glowing orbs in their pictures. Some visitors run from the street, claiming they heard screams or smelled smoke from long-dead fires. Is the Headless Drummer warning of danger? Is Annie still searching for her family? The Royal Mile hides its horrors well, but after sunset, the past feels alive. 3 Fleet Street, London. Fleet Street in London is a narrow, old road lined with tall, dark buildings that block the sunlight. By day, it is busy with cars and people, but at night, the street feels different. Cold winds blow and shadows move where no one walks. Long ago, this street was famous for its printing presses and newspapers, but it hides darker stories. The most famous legend is of Sweeney Todd, the demon barber. Stories say he was a barber who cut his customers' throats and sent their bodies to a bakery next door. where they were baked into pies. Though it is just a tale, many swear they feel a chilling presence near the old barber shops. Visitors hear strange noises like scissors snipping or low, angry whispers, even when shops are closed. Some smell sweet, sickly pie filling the air, then suddenly rotting meat. Others report seeing a tall, shadowy figure in a black coat lurking in doorways, his face hidden. Near the old church, St. Bride's, people hear ghostly cries at night. Workers in empty offices hear typing sounds from old machines, but find no one there. One story tells of a journalist who died chasing a scandal. His ghost paces the street, mumbling about secrets, his eyes wild. Tourists taking photos sometimes capture blurry shapes or glowing eyes in windows. Locals hurry home after dark, avoiding the alleyways. Is Sweeney Todd still waiting for victims? Are the dead printers still working? Or is it all just tricks of the light? Fleet Street keeps its secrets, but the air here whispers of horrors best left unseen. 4 Cock Lane, London. Cock Lane in London is a quiet, narrow street with old brick buildings that feel like they are watching you. Long ago, this street became famous for a ghost called the Scratching Fanny. In the 1700s, a man named William Kent lived here with his lover, Fanny Lines. After Fanny died suddenly, people said her ghost haunted the house. Strange, scratchy noises filled the walls at night, like claws scraping wood. Knocking sounds answered questions, as if a spirit was talking. Crowds came to hear the ghost, and newspapers called it the Cock Lane Ghost. But some said it was a trick. A girl named Elizabeth claimed Fanny's ghost spoke through her, accusing William of poisoning Fanny. Later, people found out Elizabeth was making the noises herself, with a wooden board. But the story did not end. Even today, visitors hear faint knocks in empty buildings, or see a shadowy figure in a nightgown near the old house. Some smell sickness like old medicine in the air. Others feel cold spots or hear a woman crying, though no one is there. At night, lights flicker in windows of boarded-up homes. Cats hiss at nothing, and dogs bark at dark corners. Was Fanny truly murdered? Or did her ghost stay to tell the truth? The street stays silent, but the scratches on the walls remain. People walk quickly here, afraid to look back. What if the knocking starts again? What if the ghost is still waiting to speak? Cock Lane hides its answers, leaving only fear and whispers in the dark. 5 Abbey Churchyard, Bath. Abbey Churchyard in Bath is a peaceful square by the Grand Bath Abbey, but at night it turns eerie. The old stone walls seem to whisper, and shadows dance where no light falls. Long ago, this place was a graveyard, and some say the dead never left. The most famous ghost is the Grey Lady, a spirit in a long, faded dress. She walks near the Abbey's gates, her face pale and sad. Legend says she was a nun who fell in love and broke her vows. When her lover vanished, she died of heartbreak. Now she searches for him in the moonlight. Visitors feel sudden chills or hear soft crying, but when they look, no one is there. Others see her vanish into the Abbey's walls, like smoke. Under the churchyard, dark tunnels from Roman times hide more secrets. People hear marching footsteps, as if ancient soldiers still guard the ruins. Some smell old incense or hear monks chanting in empty rooms. Once, a tourist took a photo of the Abbey at dusk. When she looked, a ghostly face stared back from the window, mouth open in a silent scream. Workers closing shops at night hear knocks on doors, but the streets are empty. Cold spots appear out of nowhere, and voices whisper names in the wind. Is the Grey Lady still waiting for her lost love? Are Roman spirits trapped below? Or do the Abbey's old stones hold memories of the dead? The churchyard stays quiet, but after dark, the past feels too close. Walk quickly and don't look behind you. You never know what might be following. 6 King Street, Manchester. King Street in Manchester is a wide, elegant road lined with grand old buildings that once held banks and trading offices. By day, it bustles with shoppers and cafes, but at night, the air grows still and the shadows stretch like long fingers. The clatter of horse carriages once filled this street, but now strange echoes remain. People whisper about a ghostly man in a dark suit seen near the old Reform Club. His name was George, a caretaker who died long ago in a tragic fall down the stairs. Now his spirit lingers. Workers hear jingling keys in empty halls, or spot his shadow sliding across walls when no one is there. Doors slam suddenly, lights flicker, and cold spots freeze the air without warning. Near the old warehouses, some hear phantom hooves clattering on cobblestones, though cars replaced horses decades ago. Others see pale faces in upper windows staring down, only to disappear in a blink. One shopkeeper arrived mornings to find chairs mysteriously stacked, as if unseen hands worked at night. There are darker tales too. A woman in a black Victorian dress seen weeping near the old bank. Her cries fade into the wind, leaving only silence. Is George still guarding these buildings? Are the ghosts of merchants trapped here, counting lost fortunes? Or does the street itself remember its bloody past, when thieves and greed ruled? Visitors hurry past after sunset, avoiding dark corners, but sometimes a faint cough, a cold breath on the neck, makes them wonder who or what walks beside them. King Street hides its truths well. Listen closely. The past here is never truly gone. 7 Backwalk of Stirling. Stirling, Backwalk of Stirling is a quiet, cobbled path winding behind old stone buildings near Stirling Castle. By day, it feels like a peaceful slice of history. But when the sun sets, the air turns heavy, and whispers seem to rise from the stones. This path once saw bloody battles during Scotland's wars for independence. Now shadows linger. Locals tell of a ghostly soldier in torn armor, dragging a broken sword. His face is pale, his eyes hollow. Some say he was killed defending the castle. Others claim he deserted and haunts the walk in shame. Visitors hear clanking metal at night, like armor moving, but find nothing. Others feel a cold hand grip their shoulder, only to turn and see empty air. Near the old cemetery, a woman in a white gown appears, her face streaked with tears. Legend says she lost her lover in battle and jumped from the castle walls. Now she wanders, singing a sad, wordless tune that chills the blood. Dogs growl at unseen figures here, and cameras capture misty shapes or glowing eyes in the dark. One tourist claimed a shadowy figure followed him, matching his steps until it vanished at the castle gates. Workers closing nearby shops hear distant cries like men shouting in battle, but the streets stay empty. Is the soldier still searching for redemption? Is the weeping woman waiting for her love? Or do the stones remember the screams of the dead? The wind carries old secrets here. Walk softly, listen closely. You might hear the past breathing down your neck. 8 Watergate Street, Chester. Watergate Street in Chester is a charming, cobbled road with half-timbered shops and Roman walls that tell tales older than time. By day, tourists admire its beauty, but when darkness falls, the air grows cold, and the past creeps closer. This street once bustled with Roman soldiers and medieval traders, but some never left. Visitors whisper of a ghostly woman in a long white dress seen gliding near the old stone arches. Her face is pale, her eyes empty. Locals call her the Lady of Watergate. Long ago, she waited for a sailor lover who never returned from the sea. Heartbroken, she jumped into the River Dee. Now her spirit paces the street, her mournful cries mixing with the wind. Others tell of Roman soldiers in rusty armor, marching silently near the ancient walls. Their heavy footsteps echo at midnight, but vanish when searched. Shop owners arrive mornings to find items moved, books scattered, chairs overturned, as if unseen hands roamed at night. Some smell old smoke or hear faint market chatter, though the street is empty. A tourist once took a photo of the medieval rows, only to spot a shadowy figure in a window, its hand pressed against the glass. Dogs bark wildly here, pulling their owners away. Others feel sudden chills, like icy water poured down their backs. Is the lady still waiting for her lost love? Do Roman ghosts guard their old fortress? Or does the river itself whisper secrets to the dead? The street stays quiet, but after sunset, history feels alive. Walk fast, don't look back. You might not like what follows. 9 Church Lane, Whitby. Church Lane in Whitby is a narrow, steep path of old cobblestones leading up to the ruins of Whitby Abbey. By day, it is busy with visitors climbing to the famous Abbey. But when fog rolls in from the sea, the lane turns eerie. The air grows cold and shadows cling to the ancient walls. Many say ghosts walk here, tied to the Abbey's dark past. Long ago, the Abbey was a place of prayer, but after it was destroyed, stories of hauntings began. The most famous spirit is a gray monk, seen wandering the lane at night. His hood hides his face and his robes rustle like dry leaves. Some say he was a monk who swore to protect the Abbey forever, even in death. Others hear faint chanting, though the ruins are silent. Near the top of the lane, a woman in white appears. Her story is sad. She lost her love to the sea and threw herself from the Abbey cliffs. Now her ghost drifts by the graveyard, weeping into the wind. Visitors feel sudden chills or hear footsteps behind them on empty stairs. Cameras capture strange mists or glowing lights near the Abbey gates. One tourist swore a cold hand pulled her coat, but no one was there. Others see shadowy figures in the Abbey windows, watching silently. At night, dogs bark at unseen things, and voices whisper names in the fog. Is the gray monk guarding his home? Is the woman in white still searching for her lost sailor? Or do the Abbey's ruins hold older, darker secrets? The lane stays quiet, but after dark, the past feels alive. Climb carefully. Listen closely. You might not be alone. 10 Borough High Street, London. Borough High Street in London is a busy road today, but its past is dark and haunted. Long ago, this street was home to old prisons like the Marshalsea and the Clink, where prisoners suffered and died. Now, the air here feels heavy, and strange things happen after dark. Visitors near the old prison walls hear faint cries like people begging for help. Some feel sudden cold spots, even on warm nights. Others see shadowy figures in ragged clothes, shuffling as if dragging chains. One famous ghost is a man in a torn black coat, seen near the George Inn. His face is pale, his eyes wide with fear. Legend says he was a prisoner who escaped, only to be caught and hanged nearby. Now his spirit paces the street, searching for freedom he never found. Workers in shops hear banging on walls or whispers saying, "Let me out," when no one is there. Tourists taking photos sometimes capture blurred faces in windows or glowing orbs floating near the old gates. At night, footsteps echo on empty sidewalks, following people before fading away. Near the railway arches, some smell smoke from long-dead fires or hear the clang of metal like cell doors slamming shut. Locals hurry past certain spots, feeling unseen hands brush their arms. Was the escaped prisoner cursed to walk here forever? Are the cries of tortured souls trapped in the stones? Or does the street itself remember its bloody history? The noise of London fades here, replaced by whispers of the past. Walk quickly, don't look into the shadows. Something might be looking back. 11 Westgate Street, Gloucester. Westgate Street in Gloucester is a historic road lined with ancient buildings, but its past hides dark secrets. By day, it bustles with shoppers and cars, but at night the air grows cold and shadows cling to the old stone walls. This street leads to Gloucester Cathedral, a place filled with ghostly tales. Long ago, monks walked here, and some say their spirits never left. Visitors near the cathedral hear low chanting in empty halls, or see robed figures vanish around corners. The most famous ghost is the Headless Horseman. Legend says he was a knight executed for treason, his head cut off centuries ago. Now his ghost rides a black horse down Westgate Street at midnight, clutching his severed head. Those who see him say the horse's hooves make no sound, and cold fear freezes their bones. Near the old prison ruins, people hear chains rattling and desperate cries as if prisoners still suffer. Workers in shops find items moved overnight, books fallen, lights flickering with no explanation. One story tells of a woman in a Victorian dress, seen weeping near the town hall. Her face is pale, her hands covering her eyes. She fades if approached. Tourists taking photos sometimes capture misty shapes or glowing eyes in windows. Others feel sudden chills, like icy fingers brushing their necks. At night, footsteps echo behind walkers but disappear when they turn. Dogs bark at empty alleys and cats hiss at unseen figures. Is the Headless Horseman doomed to ride forever? Are the monks still guarding their cathedral? Or do the prison's lost souls cry for justice? The street stays quiet, but after dark, the past feels alive. Walk fast. Keep your eyes forward. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows. 12 Bold Street, Liverpool. Bold Street in Liverpool is a lively shopping area by day, but at night, strange things happen. The air feels heavy, and shadows move where they shouldn't. People here tell stories of time slips, moments when the street seems to jump into the past. One man claimed he stepped outside a shop and saw horse carriages, old-fashioned clothes, and gas lamps instead of cars. When he blinked, everything was modern again. Others report seeing a woman in a Victorian dress vanishing into walls, or a man in a 1950s suit walking through closed doors. Near the Lyceum building, visitors hear piano music from empty rooms, or footsteps climbing invisible stairs. Workers in cafes hear whispers from empty tables, and some smell cigar smoke with no source. Cameras act strangely here. Photos show blurred figures or streetscapes from another time. One shop worker swore she saw a boy in old-school uniform staring at her, only for him to fade like mist. At night, the street feels watched. Cold spots appear suddenly, and voices murmur names no one recognizes. Some say the dead of Liverpool still walk here, trapped between times. Others believe the street itself is a doorway to the past. Why do clocks stop here? Why do people vanish for seconds, then return confused? No one knows. But locals hurry past certain spots after dark. They don't look back. They don't want to see what or when might be following. 13 High Street, Glasgow. High Street in Glasgow is a busy road during the day, filled with shops and people. But as night falls, the air chills and shadows creep from the ancient buildings. This street leads to Glasgow Cathedral, a place steeped in dark history. Centuries ago, plague victims were buried here in mass graves, and criminals were hanged near the old Tolbooth steeple. Now locals whisper of restless spirits trapped between worlds. The most feared ghost is the Grey Nurse, a woman in a tattered uniform seen near the cathedral gates. Her face is pale, her eyes empty. Legend says she worked in a plague hospital, caring for the dying until she caught the sickness herself. Now she wanders the street, reaching out to passers-by with bony fingers. Visitors feel sudden cold breaths on their necks, or hear faint coughing like someone sick lying nearby. Others see shadowy figures huddled in doorways, their faces covered by rags as if hiding from the plague. Near the necropolis cemetery, some hear sobbing or see a man in chains limping up the street, a thief hanged long ago, still trying to escape his fate. Shop workers arrive mornings to find handprints on windows or medicines scattered though no one was there. Tourists taking photos capture misty shapes or glowing eyes in the cathedral's stained glass. At night, footsteps echo on cobblestones, but the streets stay empty. Dogs whine and pull their owners away from dark corners. Is the gray nurse still searching for her patients? Do plague victims haunt their burial grounds? Or does the cathedral's shadow hide older, darker secrets? The street stays quiet, but after midnight the past feels too close. Walk quickly. Don't look behind you. Something might be following. 14 Sadler Street, Durham. Sadler Street in Durham is a steep, cobbled path leading to the ancient cathedral. By day, visitors climb its stones, laughing and taking photos. But when night falls, the street changes. The air turns icy and shadows stretch like claws. Centuries ago, this street was filled with monks, traders, and prisoners dragged to the castle. Now their ghosts are said to linger. The most feared spirit is the Black Monk, a shadowy figure seen near the old walls. His face is hidden, but his heavy footsteps echo after midnight, clattering on the stones. Visitors hear low chanting like monks praying, but the street stays empty. Others feel icy fingers brush their arms or see a cloaked shape vanish around corners. Near the castle gates, a woman in white appears, her cries mixing with the wind. Legend says she lost her child to the plague and searches still, clutching a tiny, invisible hand. Workers closing shops find doors mysteriously locked, or hear whispers in dark rooms. Tourists' photos show misty shapes, glowing eyes in windows, or blurred faces in the cathedral's archway. At night, dogs bark at nothing and voices whisper old names in the alleys. Some feel sudden chills, like cold water poured down their backs. Others hear chains clanking, as if prisoners still march to their doom. One shopkeeper told of a cold spot near the cathedral steps, where breath turns to fog even in summer. A tourist once swore a hand gripped their shoulder, but no one was there. Clocks stop, lights flicker, and the scent of old incense haunts empty air. Is the Black Monk guarding secrets? Is the weeping mother forever trapped? Or do the stones remember blood and sorrow? The street stays silent, but after dark, the past feels alive. Walk fast, keep your eyes down. You never know who or what might be watching from the shadows. 15 Merton Street, Oxford. Merton Street in Oxford is a quiet, cobbled lane lined with ancient college buildings that whisper secrets of the past. By day, students hurry to classes and tourists admire the old stone walls. But when night falls, the air grows cold and shadows cling to the doorways. Centuries ago, this street was home to scholars, priests, and some who never left. The most famous ghost is the Black Friar, a hooded figure seen gliding near Merton College. His face is hidden, but his ragged robes rustle like dead leaves. Legend says he was a monk who died in a fire long ago, cursed to wander for hiding forbidden books. Now visitors hear faint chanting in empty courtyards, or see dark shapes peering from library windows. Others feel icy breaths on their necks, or hear pages turning in locked rooms. Near the chapel, a woman in a white gown appears, her face pale with sorrow. She is said to be a student who drowned herself in the river after a failed love affair. Her ghost weeps by the water pump, vanishing if approached. Workers closing the college at night hear footsteps echoing in deserted halls and doors slam shut on their own. Tourists taking photos capture misty figures in cloisters or glowing eyes in dark archways. Some smell old smoke, though no fire burns. Clocks stop, Lights flicker and dogs whine at unseen presences. Is the Black Friar guarding his lost books? Is the weeping student still heartbroken? Or do the college walls hold older, darker tales? The street stays silent, but after midnight the past feels alive. Walk quickly. Don't look back. You might not like what follows.